What is the point of art? What is its essential function? Does it have one? And what does that mean for you as an artist or a musician? So I think about this topic a lot, and if you've watched some of my other videos, you know I've made several other videos about this, and I'm writing a book about this, and it's a deeply important topic to me because I'm a violinist, and over my life I've had this gnawing kind of feeling that what I do really matter? Does it really do something in the world? I mean, I can feel inside me there's this intuition that music is really important, and it's such a vital part of my own life, and it's deeply touching for so many people. And yet, the story in our culture, our society, is that the arts are nice, but they don't really matter. And you don't see like artists being called to the White House when the big boy decisions are being made. That kind of thing. That the arts are just considered to be a luxury, like something a bit frivolous, nice, but a bit frivolous and meaningful for some people, but also not practical, not useful, right? And so that creates a real wound for a lot of artists and musicians, because this is what we do, right? And this is where our heart and soul and training is. And so there is a function to the arts. There is a use. And it's not one that our society recognizes very easily, though. Yeah, I want to see how much I want to get into this. So the purpose of the arts are not meant to be enjoyed. They are meant to illuminate. These are the words of John Anthony West from Serpent in the Sky. He's an Egyptologist, or was an Egyptologist, and a symbologist. And this is what he said. The arts are meant to put us into contact with superhuman realities, to lead people to a kind of growth and awakening that they might not be able to on their own. And so the functions that art has in our society are typically economic functions, like how much did that painting cost, or getting paid for playing a gig. Or it also has political functions, social functions, technological functions, but none of these are the real purpose of the arts. The arts are meant to produce a shift in consciousness that puts you in touch with something bigger. In other words, it's a transformation that happens. The arts are about transformation. So before I get further, I'm going to read an excerpt from my upcoming book. So I'm going to read today. So my name is Joseph Arnold. I'm a violinist, Alexander Technique teacher, and the director of the Soul Force Arts Institute. And I'm writing a book, The Vital Role, Soul Force Arts, The Vital Role of Musicians and Other Artists in a World That's Lost Its Mind. And the book is basically about the true purpose of the arts and how they fit into this crazy world that we live in. How it's a practical manual. It's about how you as an artist can fulfill this deeper purpose. So today I'm going to read an excerpt from my book. It's about how transformation happens, how the arts initiate a moment of truth in the audience member, and that's what allows for the greatest growth and evolution and healing, individually and for our society. So without further ado, just going to take a sip of coffee here. This section is called The Moment of Truth. And I begin with a quote from John Keats from his poem Ode to a Grecian Urn. Beauty is truth. Truth, beauty. Here we go. Imagine you're going to a musical concert. It's by one of your favorite artists, and you're looking forward to the performance with great anticipation. You sit down in your seat, and then the music begins. As the music washes over you can feel your daily worries floating away. Your body relaxes. You drop into the music even more. And then something unexpected happens. The intense beauty of the music touches something deep inside you, and you feel a pang of grief, relief, and awe. All the tension you've been holding around your heart without even realizing it suddenly releases, and you feel blasted wide open. When the concert is over, you leave the venue half in a daze. Stepping outside, you look up at the starry night sky and then around at all the other concert goers on their way home. And then you suddenly realize that the whole universe is alive with music. A sense of connection with all there is fills every atom of your being. And somehow, this new sense of connection allows you to trust that you're going to be okay, no matter what happens. You've just experienced a moment of truth. A moment of truth is a shift in consciousness that puts you in touch with something bigger. It's a discrete moment of transformation in which something new is recognized, something old is reintegrated, or a boundary softens to include a larger picture. The initiation of a moment of truth is the essential function of a work of art, and is what marks the difference between one that is truly great and one that is more pedestrian. That bears repeating, so I'm going to say it again. The initiation of a moment of truth is the essential function of a work of art, and is what marks the difference between one that is truly great and one that is more pedestrian. Moments of truth work along two different axes. They can move you towards either greater soulfulness or into more holistic values. Both are essential for your evolution, growing, and healing as an artist. The story written above is an example of a moment of truth that moves you into a greater experience of soulfulness. Moments like these are well known in the arts world and are essential for the healing, inspiration, and togetherness that are what make certain works of art truly great. Less well known, but every bit as important, are the moments of truth that can lead you into more holistic values. Adopting more holistic values is a vital part of the growth and development of every person and society. The wisest and most compassionate people in societies tend to be those who have adopted the widest, most holistic view of things. And likewise, the most destructive people in societies are often those who have failed to do so. Art and artists have had a vital role in helping both individuals and societies grow into more holistic values. We can see evidence for this in how the role and forms of art have changed to match different historical periods. For example, Neolithic art is different from that of the time of the agricultural revolution, the scientific revolution, or that of our own modern times. At each transition point in history, artists have reflected their society's values, states of mind, and ways of being, and have helped their society dream new possibilities into existence. This is a truly vital role because without the help of artists, who are often at the vanguard of culture, humanity would have a harder time adopting the new ways of being, thinking, and acting that are required to overcome the challenges of each era. A wonderful example of this comes from the art of the 1400s and 1500s. This era marked the beginning of the use of perspective in visual art, where for the first time, painters developed the means of creating an image that looked three-dimensional, as opposed to the two-dimensional perspective that was almost universally used before then. This artistic development was an integral part of the newly emerging scientific revolution, and its use in art both exemplified and further promoted the values of that revolution. For example, the scientific revolution valued objectivity over symbolism and religious dogma. And it's this new value that gave rise to the use of perspective at that time. What does an objective painting look like? Well, it's one that's going to look like the three-dimensional world we see with our eyes, not the flattened symbolic world we see in paintings before this time. Three-dimensional perspective and the values of the scientific revolution went hand in hand. Not only was the use of perspective a reflection of the newly emerging values of this era, but it also hastened the widespread adoption of these values. To understand this, just imagine for a moment that you're from the 1400s and you've only ever seen paintings with a flattened aspect, like the early Christian depiction of the Last Supper I have in my in my book. So you can look this up. Look up early Christian depictions of the Last Supper, like frescoes and paintings and that kind of thing. And you'll see that it looks very flat, two-dimensional. And then that you come across the one painted by Leonardo da Vinci, which I also going to have in my book here, which displays the same scene, but with perfect three-dimensional perspective. And again, I'd encourage you to take a look at that one and compare the two. What effect might seeing Leonardo da Vinci's version have on your mind? What might this touch inside you? And what new possibilities might suddenly become available to you as a result? At the time, seeing a painting like this must have been like undergoing a spontaneous initiation into the scientific revolution. Such a painting was like a message from the future, a clarion call beckoning people into the new modern age. And as the use of perspective spread, more and more people saw paintings that exemplified the new values of that era. Each viewing initiated a moment of truth, one that may have deepened the viewer's trust and familiarity with the values of the scientific revolution. And with greater trust, its values would have felt more and more tangible, and less like a far-off fantasy, as is so often the case when encountering newly emerging values. Thus, we can see that the arts were an integral part of a huge leap forward for European society, one which led not only to the development of objectivity, but also to the scientific method, democracy, and universal human rights. Our own society is currently undergoing a transition every bit as revolutionary as this, and perhaps even more so. And even though many can glimpse a new way of being on the horizon, there is no guarantee that we'll get there. What we need are people who are ahead of the curve and who can help guide the rest of us through the madness that accompanies every such transition. You, as an artist, will best fulfill this role by first embodying the values of the coming era in yourself, which you can do by growing into greater soulfulness and more holistic values. This will allow your art, your system update, to initiate the very kinds of moments of truth that our society needs most right now. This is what it means to be a soul force artist. Okay, so that's the excerpt. I find myself curious about you and your experience of that. What kinds of moments of truth have you experienced in your artistic life? Either in learning how to become an artist, or in receiving art, or in the act of sharing your art or music. Again, this is how transformation happens. This is how growth happens. And I believe that artists and musicians have a real duty, a sacred duty, to initiate moments of truth for our audiences, to help us all grow and evolve into a society that's more beautiful. More life-giving. One that allows for the healing of our collective trauma. And I believe that the arts and artists have a vital role to play in that, and that's why I'm writing my book, to describe that. So if you want to take some action steps around moments of truth, I'd recommend that you sit down with your journal and write down 3 moments of truth that have happened in your life outside of the arts. 3 moments of real transition, recognition, healing, growth. when you came into a new understanding of yourself or the world. And then 3 moments of truth in the arts that you've experienced, either as a recipient or as an artist. And then don't just put those away, but really reflect on them. Really let those moments in, like, oh, this is what the arts are about. And the more you are attuned to moments like that, the more you're going to be able to make this happen in your arts. You'll be able to initiate more and more moments of truth for your audiences. But it starts with you. It starts with you recognizing the moments of truth that have been important for you. Yeah, okay. So if you enjoy this content, please do like and subscribe to this video and my channel. You can also go to josepharnold.com and sign up for my email newsletter. I send out a monthly newsletter with videos and blog posts, and that's where you can learn more about my book as well and what I teach. You can take online or in-person lessons with me in the Alexander technique and more generally for this soul force material. And I'd love to hear from you. So please do reach out either on this channel or elsewhere. Okay, I'll see you next time.